Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. This ultra-rare silver coin that defies the establishment is about to be auctioned. Let's explore! I know it may not look like much, but only 40 of these were made, and there's one that has been found that is about to be put up for auction. In an article here from the Boston Globe, rare silver coin made in colonial New England could fetch $300,000 at auction. The silver 1 shilling coin was made in Boston in 1652 and is one of about 40 known to still exist, according to a Rhode Island coin expert. And we can see a box of coins here, and somebody holding this rare shilling here. An extraordinarily rare coin with a face value of just pennies when it was minted in the mid-17th century. New England could sell for the equivalent of about $300,000 when it's put up for auction in London next month. The silver 1 shilling coin made in Boston in 1652, considered the finest example of the roughly 40 coins known to still exist. It was recently found in the United Kingdom inside of a candy tin containing hundreds of other coins, auctioneer Morton and Eden Limited said in a statement Wednesday. Imagine that, look at that. And by the way, this Continental Congress coin, I think, is probably a reproduction. And probably some of these others are as well, too. But nonetheless, fascinating indeed to find that in a tin. James Morton, the auctioneer's coin specialist, called the New England coin the star of the collection. Oh, yes, I would say that would be the case. I could hardly believe my eyes when I realized that it was an excellent example of a New England shilling struck by John Hull. They even know who struck the coins in 1652 in Boston for use as currency by early settlers in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, he said in a statement. The Massachusetts General Court in 1652 appointed Hull and his assistant Robert Sanderson as Boston Mint Master, responsible for producing North America's first silver coinage. The mint, considered treasonous by King Charles II, was shut down in 1682, according to the statement. And by the way, some of you may remember in the history of this channel that I covered a topic where there was a time capsule where there was artifacts from 1795, including some of Paul Revere's silver. And one of these coins, it was actually the 1652 pine tree shilling, was in that time capsule. And when it was opened up, they found it in there, and it was really a sense when they put those coins in there in 1795, and just a few years after the establishment of the United States Mint, it was essentially to send a message that, hey, we are rebelling against this establishment, and this is what this coin was about. It was about rebellion of the establishment at the time, which was, indeed, the crown. The coin, of rudimentary design, has the initials NE for New England on one side, and the Roman numeral 12, the number of pennies in a shilling on the other. Let's take a look at it again up close. We can see here, very rudimentary, but definitely a very interesting coin indeed. Jim Bailey, a coin expert and metal detectorist in Warwick, Rhode Island, who caused a sensation earlier this year by unearthing 17th century silver coins believed linked to the notorious English pirate Henry Every, called the UK shilling a phenomenal discovery. In fact, you may remember I posted a video about that because on this channel I do like to cover topics of found precious metal treasure, whether it be old silver coins such as the type that we're talking about here, or any other precious metals have been found through by accident in some way. Maybe they might be hidden inside of a cupboard at somebody's home, or unearth ancient treasures, that type of thing. It's really interesting stuff. I have a whole playlist of this type of thing for those that are interested. The coin has tremendous eye appeal, Bailey said on Wednesday, because there are only about 40 such coins in existence. This specimen can be called the finest known. And think about it, it was found in this old tin. It's crazy with all these other coins. And again, some of these look like facsimiles. But you never know. They don't really talk about those other ones. But anyways, it's pretty crazy, interesting stuff indeed. The coin was consigned to the auctioneer by Wentworth Wenty Beaumont, whose father found it in a tin in his study in the family estate in northern England. So it made its way back to England, apparently. Beaumont's ancestor, William Wentworth, was an early settler of New England who is thought to have arrived in the colonies in 1636 and likely obtained the coin new. The Wentworths became a prominent family in New Hampshire. I can only assume that the shilling was brought back from America years ago by one of my forebears, Beaumont said in a statement. The online auction, which includes several other early American coins, is scheduled for the 26th of November. Very, very interesting indeed to see that kind of history and how it made its way back into England at the time, and they were considered illegal and treasonous by the crown all the way back then. That was essentially marked the first rebellious act by the colonies long before the revolution actually had occurred, and this was essentially a middle finger to the crown, King Charles II there, and the colonies at the time. And you can see in this photograph of other coins that may perhaps have been sold, the continental currency pieces, I don't know. It's kind of hard to see in this image, but those look to be replicas, and these metals here seen as well too. I don't know how what those would be considered, but there's also a lot of other coins in this tin that look pretty interesting upon first glance. Very fascinating to see this example and what it could fetch, and it's being sold in London. An amazing treasure, an amazing find, and again, here's a better photograph of the coin to be up for auction. I wonder how many Americans, coin collectors, may bid on this coin, and my feeling is, hey, we'll see if I can remember to keep track of this story. Maybe we'll see if it fetches 300,000. My guess is there will be some collector here in the U.S. that loves this old stuff, and it may go for more than that. Very interesting indeed. We've seen other early American coins sell for big money here in the United States, and obviously this is the precipice, the foretaste of what was to come more than 100 years after the fact. And so this isn't a part of American history, and really, in a sense, one could make the argument that it all started with this coin, New England shilling. Yes, indeed, 12 pennies. It's a fascinating story indeed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below about this story. I have one extra thought about this. You think about it, this coin is made of silver, and it was stamped in New England for commerce in that region at the time, and in a sense, defying the crown. And here in the United States right now, well, we are essentially being hoodwinked with our currency. Now, the dollar bill, this is a piece of currency, a Federal Reserve note, that by design, under normal circumstances, loses value each year. It's just now going out of control and losing value at a faster pace. That is called inflation. And so therefore, it is incumbent upon us to stack silver, to essentially declare our independence from this establishment, the banking system, and the government that would essentially tax us through the devaluation of our currency. That's really the bottom line. And this is why I think this is such an interesting story, because silver, It knows no boundaries. It doesn't care what era it's in. All it does is it exists as a way to preserve your wealth over the course of a long period of time. This particular historic example will do much more than that, but in the end, a piece of silver in your hand, whether it be an American silver eagle or a privately issued generic silver round or a bar, well, you have taken your money and essentially exchanged it for this metal that exists outside of the system. And therefore, it is something of value that you can use to barter and trade with anybody else that you so desire, whether it be for cash or goods and services. I think it is certainly in our right to be able to use silver as a method of exchange if we see fit. And there are establishments and businesses that are doing that, not only with silver, but also gold. In fact, we're seeing that, in a sense, more and codified by the states with the gold backs that you've heard me talk about some in the past. And but this is quite an interesting piece, and fascinating indeed, interesting story. And I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.